Okay, then we cut to episode 10, and she is going on a date with Josh in the middle of the wedding try-on. This scene is horrendous. I genuinely cannot. Hello, my name is Andrea Silvestro, and today I'm with a very different video. So if you don't know, I mostly do reaction videos and music on this account because I love music, etc. But I kind of wanted to try a new format because I know that a lot of people watch these really trash reality TV shows, and I am also one of those people, and I feel like I always watch these, and I have no one to communicate my pain, my frustration with, because no one else in my life watches them. So I felt like maybe I should start a series where I talk about these really trash shows. I don't know if people care about this, but I do know that this season of Love is Blind is really having me and leaving me with some thoughts. So first off, feel free to check out my music, etc. Just like a side note, all my links and stuff will be below. But basically, I wanted to kind of go through the new 3 episodes that dropped. So I know that you guys won't really know my thoughts about everyone beforehand, but I basically watch Love is Blind every season, and I find myself watching it at 2 times speed, skipping through the boring parts, because I will not lie that some of Love is Blind is honestly not entertaining to me. I feel last season was so intense and dramatic, but this season I have thoughts. And I wanted to break them down in this video, the last 3 episodes that dropped before the finale. And I wrote down notes, etc. So I think we'll basically go through the episodes one by one and kind of talk about what overall happened. So I would say episode 9. I don't remember what it was called. Let's find it. This is honestly just very on the whim, talking about my thoughts, giving my opinions, because I have a lot of opinions. I just watched this myself. Romeo and Juliet did not work out, which I think was Zach's quote that he said. So essentially, we open the episode. Last episode was insane because first off, we have Jackie meeting Josh for the first time, which was this other guy that she was involved with in the pods. And to be honest, I did not really understand the hype with Josh. I think he's stupid. I think he was super drunk in that whole interaction. He had no riz, he had no game. I personally thought that. For whatever reason, Jackie was kind of feeling it, which we kind of understand more in this episode. And honestly, I don't really know why, because while just kind of breaking down what has happened before, Marshall, he did make some mistakes. He did call her a project, which was not really cute. But this whole time she's been kind of wanting someone that's not so sensitive like Marshall. So it seems like she wants more of the toxic traits that she's usually attracted to, which is what I'm comprehending. And Marshall's too good of a guy for her, and she wants more aggression, more passion, more just toxicity, it kind of seems like, instead of sensitivity and love, etc. So she's more interested into this Zach guy. So this whole thing opens up with this fight that Jackie and Marshall have. And Marshall's wanting to figure out what is going on because he's in this weird limbo of not knowing what's happening, and Jackie's just exhausted. She wants to completely just exit from this conversation and start it over tomorrow. But for him, it's like all those feelings are so built up to the point where he can't just ignore it anymore, and he's been ignoring it to appease her for so long that he just needs answers. And I totally understand this because I think when you are going through something so emotional, especially when it's tied to a relationship, you definitely need those answers right away because you just feel like they are eating you alive. And after a certain amount of time, like, you literally start losing sleep. Like, I've felt this before, and it's one of those things that's so hard to describe. You just stop like being able to eat, being able to function properly and normally, because all you can think about, and just causing you to think over and over. So I think for him, the reason why he wanted answers then and there is because it had been a progression this whole few weeks with Jackie, and he just wanted some clarity finally, and she was so exhausted. And I think she has opened up a lot about how when she was filming the show there was a lot going on, and this I totally understand. I think her dad was sick with cancer, and she was dealing with financially supporting her family essentially. So I think that she was going through some real things, and we kind of saw her break down earlier in earlier episodes, and no one really knew why, but she opened up a little bit about it on social media, and I totally understand that. Like, that's really stressful, bringing this relationship to the real world. That's kind of why they do it, to see if these couples can survive. Yeah, but that being said, Marshall wants answers, etc. So we fast forward. Bliss met Zach's family. I don't know. But that's kind of my opinions on the Jackie-Marshall situation. Marshall, I think, is definitely valid in trying to get answers, but I do understand why Jackie was exhausted, etc. But I think that they've needed that conversation, and she's just kind of been running away from it. I think it's just honestly really toxic, the whole thing. But yeah, so Bliss meets Zach's fam and it's all cute. Honestly, I fast forward through these things because, to be honest, Zach, he's just not for me. And Bliss, I feel bad because she was picked second in the grand scheme of things. And it seems like they vibe really well, but I don't know why Zach's poor judgment led him to choose Irina. I don't know what he was on in that decision, but yeah, he should have picked Bliss from the beginning. It kind of sucks. I kind of hate seeing it, and they really should not be engaged. I'm so annoyed. But anyways, so then we fast forward. Kwame is going into this whole thing. They kind of cut to him feeling really suffocated, and he's feeling like Chelsea is just always confrontational, etc. with him, and she claims that she's just direct. And okay, so this whole thing was because he asked Chelsea if she was okay. She was super stressed, and she goes, "Do I sound okay?" And he thought that was super snappy and confrontational, and he didn't like that. But in my personal opinion, I feel like Kwame is honestly, I totally understand what he's saying, but I think he's really nitpicking in this situation because to me it's very obvious that Chelsea is so in on this. She talks about how she wants to say yes, get married already, and how she finds Kwame so cute. And I love that for her, but I think she's just with someone who we obviously see is not as into her as she's into them. And I think it's really painful to watch, and it could be the editing, but I really don't think it is because the whole time when we see Kwame's interviews, it's kind of him talking about how Chelsea's too clingy or too confrontational, etc. And if he didn't have those real opinions, then he wouldn't be saying that. And it just makes me feel so bad for her because she really deserves the world. And I really loved her rant that she went on about how single people, it's like rough in these streets for them. And I totally see her point. And I feel like she deserves love where her love is reciprocated. And with Kwame, I just don't get it. And it's just so embarrassing for me to watch it happen. I can't take it. Like, she's just talking about how happy she is, and he's not even really giving any response that indicates the same feelings. And he's trying, and it feels like he's compromising too much. So we see him talk about a lot about how he's compromising his life in Portland, how he's giving everything up, and she's not giving anything up. And I think that's room for resentment in the relationship because if they were to get married, and I personally, spoilers, don't think they do because I don't think Kwame says yes, but I think if they were to get married, he would hold a lot of resentment towards her for kind of ruining his life. And he seems like he wants to have more of the bachelor lifestyle where he doesn't want to settle down, he wants to travel, he doesn't want a family. It just doesn't seem like he wants to be married, if I'm being quite honest right now. So I don't really know why he's on the show, but with that being said, I feel he's kind of acting as if he's having to compromise himself and his life to be with Chelsea, and I think that's unfair. And I think if you're really thinking like that you shouldn't be with the person because you should feel like the relationship is going to help you grow and it be something that you want. And it seems like he's just there because he feels bad and doesn't really know what to do. And it's awkward for me to watch. I feel so bad. I feel Chelsea deserves more, and yes. And then we cut to Brett and Tiffany. They're just living their best life. I see them as definitely the healthiest relationship because both of them seem very sure. Both of them are very mature. They both know what they want, and it seems like they both found that in each other, which is so cute and wholesome. And I love their relationship, and they better get married at the end. I'm literally gonna scream because if anyone's gonna make it, it has to be them because everyone else has like some little toxic elements. Then we cut to Paul and Micah. I honestly don't know what they were doing. I feel like Paul is so cute to me. I think he's precious and he's so cute and nerdy. Paul and Micah, it's an interesting dynamic because they're so opposite, but I personally don't think they're the best match. And especially with all the mess with Micah and Kwame and how she was like still flirting with him and being a little bit awkward. It's going to be interesting to see them rewatch it afterward and kind of talk about it in the live reunion, but I don't know, it's just not doing it for me. But it seems like they're happy and they don't seem extra toxic, but it could be how they are on camera. I don't know. So yeah, so then we cut to Kwame, back to the Kwame and Chelsea situation. So basically Kwame meeting Chelsea's family killed me because the way she talks about him, she's so energetic, she's so positive, she loves this man, and it's so cute to see someone care about their relationship that much. But it's just so sad that it is with Kwame because he is not feeling it in the same way. But yes, this was an interaction that honestly made me feel really sad for her because she was so excited. But I was dying on the streets when she said that, when she brought up his beautiful singing voice. I was like, Was it beautiful though? Because I cringed. Every time people sing on this show, it's always horrendous, horrendous, horrendous. Like Zach singing, horrible. I honestly, Bliss, I don't know how you don't have the ick. I'm so sick and disgusting. But yeah, so then we cut to the end of episode 9. So that's kind of my thoughts of episode 9 and like previous thoughts. But we cut to the wedding dress try on, and Jackie is not there. And honestly, this is the best friendship that I've seen on the show in terms of men, I feel. It's the Brett and Marshall friendship, because they seem to just be really good bros. They don't have any competition. They're very straightforward and honest with each other. And I love this duo. I think they're great. But essentially, Tiffany texts Brett and she tells him that Jackie's not at the wedding dress try on. And Brett then goes and tells Marshall just to let him know and give him a heads up, which I thought was really nice of him to do, and it was very respectful. It wasn't in the way of trying to stir drama up, and his reaction was obviously a little bit shocking. So then we cut to episode 10, and she is going on a date with Josh in the middle of the wedding try-on. I don't know if the producers did this on purpose to create drama. They just didn't tell Jackie it was the time to dress in the wedding. Like, I don't know who made this plot point, but this scene is horrendous. Horrendous. I genuinely cannot. Out of all the seasons, there was some villain behavior. And it was happening off camera or it was happening on camera, but there was like some element of the person that I could somewhat feel bad for. You know, like they either were just very mentally unstable or, but this, I honestly, even Barnett didn't do this on camera. I honestly am shook. So she goes on this date while she's supposed to be getting ready for her wedding. I was shook because first off, Josh made a absolute fool of himself. Second off, I don't really know what she sees in this man. I don't think he's that attractive, but that's just me. I think Marshall's more attractive in every way. And she basically tells Josh she's attracted to him and she's willing to try with him. And this just shows that I think that this man is what she would normally go for outside in the real world, which is why she was ultimately attracted to him more than Marshall. And Marshall's like this soft squish man. And I just feel it's so embarrassing because she said she was willing to try with Josh, and Josh magically has feelings for her, even though honestly, I don't know if this is me reading too into it, but it didn't seem very genuine. Like, he seems like he has a big ego and that he gives me the ick personally. Each to their own, I guess. Like, I guess do your thing, Jackie, but the fact that she tells Josh that she doesn't care about Marshall's feelings, I don't know if she said that in there, I think she might have. And the fact that she says she's willing to try and kisses him, while she's still engaged with the ring still on her finger, I was floored. I was so confused. I was like, this is straight villainy. I could not handle it because first off, she's still dating someone else. So this is technically cheating. She's not only dating, they're engaged. And she doesn't have any regard or care for the other person. I honestly cannot. Because even with the Kwame Micah thing, it's very high-key, low-key that they're flirting together, but there wasn't any kissing or any like blatant, oh, I don't care about my person, let's just do this. I was honestly floored. And she really solidified herself as a villain in the Love is Blind world. And I'm very scared to see what's gonna happen in this reunion. People are gonna eat her up. I think that we had some little moment with Tiffany and stuff, how she was looking for a soulmate and not just someone to marry, and I thought that was really impactful. And I think it showed that she's taking it very seriously, and it shows that her and Brett are really genuine. So yeah, moving on. Kwame, he's talking about how he feels like he's changing everything in his life to fit Chelsea's, and how he feels like he's sacrificing everything and she's not. And I think already, as I mentioned before, this is just a horrible route to start a marriage on. You're already resenting her for having to change your life. And at the end of the day, she's not telling you have to. It just, in this case, if one person's working remote, one person's not, you kind of have to move to where the person is working. That's kind of how it works. You have to make compromise. But if you technically did not want to do that, then maybe you should have figured that out before you got engaged. That's just my personal opinion. Because life paths, I understand. People have different life trajectories. They want to do different things. And you might love someone, but maybe it won't work out. Have experience firsthand how sometimes life does not align for you guys to be together at that moment, maybe in the future, who knows. But the fact that he's kind of getting angry and resenting her and kind of weaponizing that against her and kind of using it as an excuse to why he doesn't want to be with her is not good. It does not sit well with me, and I feel we all know she's gonna get her heart broken in the future. It just is so embarrassing that he's acting like it's her fault that he has to change his lifestyle, even though I feel they should have known this before they got engaged. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I would have had this conversation to see if it really aligns, but whatever. Then we get to the real tea, which is the Marshall and Jackie conversation, which was honestly even worse. I didn't think it could get worse, but she said that she just basically says, I can't love you, I can't be with you, I can't give you the validation you need. And she said she thinks that Marshall needs a lot of security and requires too much. And yeah, how her breaking point was when he kept pressing her about what they were gonna do, etc. after Chelsea's party, and she was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. And then Marshall was very respectful, very kind. Him saying like he said he tried to encourage conversation. He would let things blow over to appease her, etc. and all that. But Jackie really was just so rude, talking about how she can't love Marshall because she's attracted to Josh, etc. and how she doesn't want to be with him anymore. She wants to maybe be with Josh, etc. And it was just so hurtful because I have never on this whole show seen anyone say anything blatantly that rude. Like Bartise, he was all like kind of saying that he didn't find Nancy attractive, but he never was talking like, oh, I really want to be with this other person. It's just so vile to me. And the part that got me the most was when Marshall said he wanted the ring back and Jackie said she's keeping the ring. I was like, why are you keeping the ring? Why? And he was obviously upset about that, but he was like, whatever, you can have it. He goes, every time you look at it, I hope you're reminded that you passed up on something great. Which honestly, I love him for this because he did not cry. He did not get angry. He just realized his worth. He realized that he could have given her a life that would have been lovely and would have loved her the way that she has always kind of wanted but never accepted. And he thought it was embarrassing probably that she wanted to keep the ring. And he's like, whatever, I'm not going to fight over this ring at the end of the day. I don't know if he has to buy it or Love is Blind buys it, but I thought this was so horrendous that she's keeping the ring. For what? Like, are you that broke that you need the ring that just serves as this reminder as to the man you didn't get married to? You're just going to sell it? Like, I don't know. It just felt like gross to me, and gross behavior, vile behavior. Could not stand it. And she goes, this is the part I loved, king energy. She goes, I'll see you around. And he goes, no, you won't. And I said yes, because he's definitely someone that is not ever taking this woman back. And who knows if she'll regret her decision or not, but I honestly don't get the Josh thing, so honestly, whatever. And then she started talking on the outside, talking to the cameras, and she was saying, I'm not even sorry that I can't be with Marshall. And she doesn't even know if she's going to be with Josh. And I think the smartest thing she said is that she needs self-work. Because this girl definitely does. Because she also was even talking about how she doesn't know if she wants to even get married and stuff. And I'm like, girl, why are you on this show then? I'm so confused. But yeah, this whole discussion was so vile to me. Jackie, I liked her initially because I thought she was funny and stuff. But no, I honestly can't look at her the same. Then, we cut to Chelsea and Kwame's engagement photos. This was weird to me, if I'm being honest. Chelsea, I don't know why she had this fantasy, and I don't know why Kwame went ahead. I really don't know what's going on, because this is so embarrassing, because he's going through all this, and he's going to say no to her. There's no way this man's saying yes. There's no way. And then they talk about if he's ready or not, and he kind of talks about, like, how he's kind of not, and how he would love to have his mom's approval. My personal opinion is he's probably just using his mom's approval as a cop-out. Sue me, that's my opinion. And she's like, it would be so sad if we built what we wasted, but if we wasted what we built based on our family's perspective, because for her it doesn't really matter what they think, but they still approve it in a way. But for him, he's using it as this is a really big deal for him, and if they can't approve, then he can't do it. And I totally understand. I do get where he's coming from, but I personally feel it's not just that. Because if it was, I don't think it would have prohibited him from saying yes. That's just my opinion. I thought this whole thing was like giving me the ick a little bit, this photo shoot, but love Chelsea. Glad she had her moment, but it's just so sad that it's not going to turn out how she wants. And then we have Brett and Tiffany on their cute little date. They're precious. Nothing bad to say, nothing cute to say. They're precious. Very wholesome and healthy relationship. Then we get to Zach meeting Bliss's dad. And it was honestly so funny to me because I understand you bring your parents into this. They're very skeptical because, to be honest, getting married after 20 dates is the most insane thing you could ever do. And if I was on this show, I would want it to end in a marriage, but I don't really condone the fact that they have to get married after the experiment. Why can't they just keep dating and call it a day? That's my personal opinion. I think it's toxic for us to speed up the marriage process because it's just not going to work unless you guys are seriously soulmates, and which has only happened freaking one time. So Bliss's dad being skeptical, I totally understand, especially when you hear the whole backstory of how Zach technically picked someone else. That never makes him look good. And yes, and I thought it was funny how he was talking about, like, one thing is good luck, don't fool yourself, 20 days is insane, and he's a talker for sure. It didn't seem like they really got along great. It seems like he knew he was intelligent, had all this going for him, but he didn't really know anything about him by the end. And Zach, I don't know what Bliss sees in him. I think he's just so nerdy, but his eye contact is actually really intense. Sometimes I don't realize it, but then when he was looking at the dad, he was literally not blinking. It was to the point where I don't know. And his eye contact is intense because he looks so intensely at you. And I don't know. Zach makes me uncomfortable and gives me the ick a bit if I could not be with him, but whatever, good on Bliss or whatever. And her dad was basically like, this is nothing that I would ever do. We can't say if he's a match or not. I think that they shouldn't get married, these two, Zach and Bliss. I think they need to keep dating and see what happens. But especially because they kind of started later than everyone else, it just doesn't make sense for them to be on the same timeline, you know? They kind of just got gypped out of a nice vacation. And now, it just doesn't make sense. So that kind of ends episode 10. We have that drama. Then episode 11. Okay, so episode 11 starts off with Kwame and Chelsea again, and Chelsea's so into it, hyping him up, telling him how excited she is to be his wife. And Kwame keeps on thinking that the first year of their marriage is going to be horrendous. He's talking how it's tough for his mom's opinion to not be in the picture. They haven't had their best. She's like talking about how they haven't even had their best moments yet, and Kwame's talking like the first year will be horrible and hard, but she thinks it'll be super positive. So it just seems like they're looking at this relationship in two completely different ways. Kwame kind of sees it as the end of his life, and she just sees this as this positive part of her life that will just lead her to feel more fulfilled and loved and happy. And based off those reactions alone, I'm embarrassed that she is still into him. My poor good sis, I feel so bad. But, I just feel so bad for her. Yeah, then we cut to some Zach and Bliss scene in the pool, and he's talking about how he's not questioning, and they have to go through with it because they make a promise. I don't know. And Bliss is like, I don't want to get divorced, and they're like, we both don't, etc. It was not really that relevant of a conversation, to be honest. And then we have the bachelor and bachelorette party. Kwame, he's talking about the move again, which I totally understand. Moving your whole life and going somewhere that's completely new sucks. But it just, in this case scenario, there was really no other way to do it. So I don't know why he would propose to someone knowing that he might not want to leave his life. It just seems like he wasn't really thinking, and he honestly is regretting it a lot, that he has to move and give up everything that he has. He kind of even talked about how Chelsea always has her family to come back to and he doesn't, and it's just so dramatic, but I understand where he's coming from. That's why if I was Kwame, I would never have proposed to Chelsea, first off, and if I was having these doubts, I'd be honest. He's kind of just acting like he's still about it without saying anything, just by disregarding what she says and just kind of like keeping on going and trying to stay neutral, but he's not really expressing what he really feels. But yes. And then Zach with his nerd friends, I was so dead. They were kind of like, yeah, this isn't our scene in this strip club bar area, but yeah. So then the bachelorette party, Chelsea's all drunk and loud, and she's so excited, and just hurts my heart even more. Micah, and then we have Shelby, Micah's friend Shelby, who thinks she deserves better. I'm like, what do you really want her to have? If she's happy with Paul, whatever. I really don't think they're gonna end up together. I think they're gonna maybe date after this. They're kind of an interesting couple. It kind of works in its own little weird way, but I honestly didn't really like Micah's attitude in the pods, to be honest. But I don't really love Micah. I think she's I don't know, not the best, but that's just my personal opinion. But it seems like she genuinely likes Paul. Her behavior with Kwame was also really odd to me. But I guess now that she doesn't see Kwame, it's not really an issue. But I still think that Micah's a little bit sus. And Paul, it doesn't seem like they're ready for their life either, because she goes back and forth between Arizona and wherever they're living in Seattle. And he doesn't really want to move, so it just seems a little bit complicated. The logistics are just complicated in relationships, especially this, where people don't want to leave their lives behind, and you like have to change your life for someone else. I don't know, it just kind of sucks. But yeah, and then we got to the day of the wedding, and Chelsea getting all ready, I honestly skipped through parts of this because I didn't really care, because I feel Chelsea's just gonna get her heart broken. But I thought it was so precious when Kwame's sister came to give her a piece of Ghana and gave her that bag. It was so cute, and it was just such a precious moment between the two of them, and it really showed that his sister was a really kind person and wanted the best for her. But yes, and then we see Kwame getting up there. I personally think he's going to say no, and if he says yes, he's going to end up hating this relationship and leaving, and that's my personal opinion. But that's kind of the overall what happened. I think that the most action-packed episode was definitely episode 10, but episode 11 was kind of like, I don't know, like these episodes haven't been super interesting. We just kind of see, I feel like we don't see much of Paul and Micah, and we just see a bunch of Zach and Bliss, and then Tiffany and Brett just chilling, and then we have a lot of Kwame and Chelsea drama because they seem to be the problematic ones. So, and of course Marshall and Jackie. But basically my end thoughts are that Jackie's the worst villain in the show's history, because I've never seen someone blatantly cheat like this and leave their match. It's definitely newfound territory for the show. I think that was really gross of her. And she should have had the conversation with Marshall before going to Josh, but technically she wouldn't have known if Josh was a true option before breaking up with Marshall. That's probably why she had that series of events first and second. It's just odd to me. It's just gross to me that she did that and she wanted to keep the ring. I just am not rooting for her. She needs to seriously get help, figure her life out. I don't know. Should not be dating Josh. Josh seems like such a tool. I could not even stand the 2 minutes of screen time that he had. It was irritating the whole time. His voice was annoying. I don't think he's attractive at all, and I think he's stupid and annoying, and just I don't like him at all. So I don't know what she sees in this man, but whatever. Maybe he'll be more aggressive and have more intense sex with her, and then she'll be happy. I don't know. Chelsea, feel bad for her. She deserves better. I wish that she had someone that loved her fully. Kwame, Snake, I don't know. I just don't love him. He's just it's so bad. And I hate watching her be so excited while he's not. But also that's kind of, not that it's on her a little bit, but I feel if I was her, I could probably feel the energy shift, but she probably just wants it so bad. I don't know. It's just so embarrassing and sad. Brett and Tiffany, if they don't get married, then I literally don't care about the show anymore. Zach and Bliss, I feel Bliss should not get married to this man. I think they should date, not get married. I truly don't think that they're meant to get married this quick, especially because they're getting married with less days than the other couples. It just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. And Paul and Micah, I'm pretty neutral. I think Micah, I don't love her friends. I feel the company that she attracts is pretty indicative of the kind of person she is. I see why they work, because they're such opposite personalities, and she kind of brings this different element out of such an analytical man. But I still don't live for her that much. I think she's just not for me personally, and I didn't like her mean girl behavior with Irina, even though I think Irina was more of the majority of the person who was at fault and more of the instigator, but I still didn't really like that she was friends with someone that trash. I think that really says a lot about her character, but whatever. It seems like they are doing their thing. I feel like they should not get married either. I think they should just keep dating and see what happens. But personally, I don't see them ending up together in the end. Personally. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel like the only people that are going to get married are Brett and Tiffany, but there's always some other couple that surprises us. So honestly, maybe Paul and Micah will get engaged. That's kind of get married. That's my second bet. Bliss should not. It's been too short, and you got picked second. Like, I don't know how you can deal with that. Like, that's so embarrassing. If Irina would have worked out well, then he would have stayed with her, not you. So it's just embarrassing to me. But that's kind of my thoughts. I feel worst villain ever. Do not stand Jackie in this household. I think that was disgusting what she did to Marshall, despite him calling her a project and saying all those things I thought were wrong. But she also, it seems like in the heat of the moment, they were talking and saying all things they didn't mean. But I didn't really like that behavior from him. But other than that, he seems like a nice guy. And he was always there for her, so... yeah, I think that's pretty horrible to do to someone. It's just not even care about how you're making them feel when you move on with someone else. When you're already engaged, it's so bad. But yeah, that was just my personal thoughts. I basically just spent 30 minutes talking to myself, ranting to myself about what's been going on this season. If you guys want me to talk about the earlier episodes, I could go back and kind of write down my thoughts and then go through. But I kind of tried to sprinkle that in between here so that you guys had more of an idea of what I thought and more background information. But yeah, let me know if you guys like this kind of video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Feel free to subscribe for the next one so we can talk about the finale, which will probably be intense. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. Thank you again for watching. Feel free to check out my music, and I will see you guys in the next video.